Got another Texas shootout with unlikely heroes. It's Louis L'Amour, the first fast draw. It's our weekly Western wrap up. Louis L'Amour, the first fast draw. The last time we did Shadow Riders by Louis L'Amour, which is another Texas Western. So, along in that theme and the same time period, uh, we have Colin Baker. He's returning from the Civil War to Texas. He left to go fight with the Confederacy, but when he joined up, he found that the group that he was fighting with was just a bunch of raiders, basically, and they were using the war as an excuse to basically commit crimes. And he didn't want to be involved in that, so he decided to desert the Confederate army and hide out in the swamps. Once the war was over, he wanted to go back to his familial plot of land and start farming. But he has like a reputation as being having a bit of a mean streak. He killed somebody in an argument, and um, now he's also a deserter. And everybody thinks that he joined the Confederacy, which is a group of rebels, secessionists. And since they lost the war, the the northern government is coming down to like, pretty much settle the rebels and this reconstructionists. And then on top of that, you also have people from the north coming down to make money, carpetbaggers. So you have all these different, like basically political groups meeting in Texas and trying. And plus, you have Mexico recently too, trying to you know get the riches, whatever capital is to be acquired. And this guy, he just wants to grow some corn. Everybody's gonna bother him, so he'll hide out in the swamp with his friends. This is Colin Baker, and kill different groups of, um, you know, unlikable characters. So that's the most of the first fast draw. He finds himself in prison. They do a little bit of like cowboying and like driving cattle. Um, he grows corn. There's ladies that are interested in him. He's uh, well, let's get to it. He's the first fast draw. So they talk a bit about the old cap and ball firearms and cartridges and uh, basically talking about how the gunfights were changing because the firearms were getting smaller, and even specifically this character, he during certain points in the novel carries a Derringer. It's like a two-shot pistol that typically ladies would carry, and um, because like the nature of dueling is changing, it's becoming like quick draw instead of taking paces. Uh, yeah, people in the book weren't ready for him to pull out this like feminine pistol and shoot people with it, which is pretty cool too. So, and yeah, he practices, drawing the weapon really fast. He is the first fast draw, and yeah, he catches a lot of people by surprise. You know, um, yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. If you like gunfighters, he's like a unwilling gunfighter. Colin Baker. He's good at it, but he doesn't. He's not looking to kill people per se, um, but he will. He will, and there's plenty of people worth killing in this book. And yeah, it's the first fast draw. If you're into Louis L'Amour novels, Maybe you read this one, maybe you didn't. I think this is a later one, if I remember correctly, like 1984, 1985. Um, yeah, and he's definitely like an anti-hero, kind of like you would see in the normal westerns. Part of this actually, if maybe if you never read western, maybe you read more fantasy, maybe you would like this one. I feel like there's like a lot of there was nothing unrealistic that happened. In fact, everything is like pretty short to the point. I mean, you got to when it's not too long, but I just felt like with a pretty easy rewrite, this could be like a fantasy novel, you know, instead of a fast draw, you know, swords or something and a little bit of magic. I don't know. It just felt like it could have been a fantasy story pretty easily. It's kind of just a random aside, but I just get that feeling when I read Louis L'Amour that he could probably wrote whatever he wanted to, and he just happened to want to write westerns. I think that's probably just what he liked researching and thinking about, and that's just where he felt comfortable because he just he just writes a good story, and always looking forward to the next one. I told you guys I was gonna read How the West Was Won, and I owe you that, but I like to give a little bit of room for the authors. I don't want to read a bunch at once. Next up, we're gonna do. Pretty sure we're doing Say It with Bullets. I started reading this one already. Definitely not typical Western and more modern, more current. Um, but I think enough of the themes and the aesthetic is is in here that we should be able to do a our Western review for Say It with Bullets by Richard Powell, which is on the hard case crime imprint. And these books are pretty cool, so if you see them, grab them. Um, yeah, and until next time, find somewhere to hide, find something to read, and yeah, let me know about it in the comments. Peace.